This video is going to show you how to insert components, windows, and doors. So I'm going to go look at the floor plan that we've been working with here. Okay, so here are a lot of the different things that you're going to be trying to just insert in. It's not going to be perfect because this floor plan I just found. And so when you're working in Revit, we have certain things that you're going to be able to find and certain things that you're just going to kind of have to improvise, right? Like one of the things that we have in our folder is like a king size bed or a queen, whatever this is. We have twin beds, right? But we might not have like a lounge that you can sit on. So when you're looking at this, do your best to try to find some of these things. Like the kitchen, I'm okay with just saying, hey, we're gonna do like a set of kitchen stuff. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's start by inserting doors. Okay, so our doors are located right here. So when I click on doors, I'm just going to go ahead and save this project. Okay. Now when I'm in here and I'm doing doors, you're going to see doors, you're going to have your default single flush doors that pop up, 3684. You can use these doors. You can also click on it and you can change the size of the doors. Okay, so it's defaulting to our larger doors here. So I'm just going to go ahead and use that door, and you can as well. And I'm just going to kind of look at where the doors are placed. So I have a door here located over in bedroom 1, and I have a door over here in the space between like the dining room and like the sitting room, and then I have a door over in the front porch. So you can have these really nice outside doors, or you can just use these doors for right now. Alright, so when I'm in here and I'm doing my doors, I'm going to go ahead and just go up to the wall and you'll see my door appear. Now where you see the door, you see that arch line, that's where the door swings open, and then that line is showing you the door. Okay, so if you look at the drawing here, this is swinging this way. Okay, so the door is opening towards this wall right here. And so when I'm over here, notice that that is backwards. So if I hit the space bar, it's going to flip the door one way or the other. Okay, and so I can go ahead and hit the space bar, place it there. I can also rotate it this way by pressing these arrows or pressing the arrows over here. Okay, so that's another option on flipping the door. We also have the door opening towards this wall over here. So I'm going to go over here, press the space bar, and have the door kind of up against that wall. And then lastly, I have the front porch, and so that one swings the other way. Great, so I can hit spacebar again. Or actually this time I'm going to not hit spacebar and then just use the arrows. Okay, so that's one way of doing it. Now if you don't like the doors that you have, you can always load a family in. And so if I hit load family, on our computers you're going to get this error because there's restrictions on the folder that we have. So we have created a shared folder for you guys. So if I go to my computer, you're going to go to the student shared folder. So you're going to see your H drive and the student shared drive, and then you're going to go into the architecture folder. You're going to then go into Revit. You're going to go into English Imperial, and then you have all of like your components that you can add in. And so since we are in doors, I want to go to the doors, and you have a bunch of different types of doors. So if you click on it, you can see kind of like the preview of what those look like. Okay, you can have openings, you can have double glass. In the residential, you'll have more residential type doors. Okay, so you can see like some of these are nice exterior doors. And then you also have interior doors. Okay, so single panel, there's that vertical, there's 3, so single 2, single 3, single 4, okay? So you have different types of doors. So let's just click on, let's say the single 2, so I can hit open. It's going to give you all the different family, this is the family of that door specifically, and so these are all the sizes, okay? So you can select specific ones, or you can just hit OK, and it's going to import all those in. So once I hit OK, you can see this is now an option, and then I have all the different, I should have had all the different ones, but here I have my single 2-panel wood door. Okay, so now I can use that as my interior doors. So if I look around, I can start placing my doors. I'm not going to be very specific here, just as just a video to show you kind of where to find everything. But generally speaking, when you have doors in the house, you want them to kind of open towards the walls, because a lot of times we keep doors open, all right? And if the door is open and it's in the middle here, it causes more problems than it's worth, right? Like if I have a door that's open and it's swinging into my hallway here, that's like not something people generally like, okay? And so yes, this one is doing that. If you could swing it in like this, that's usually better if you have the space to do that. But just follow along with whatever they're telling you to do in here. We're just trying to work on placing doors and kind of showing how that works. Now I know I'm placing an interior door on an exterior wall, and that's the same with these. But you can always go and change those later on. So I think I got most of the doors, if not all of them. That's good enough. You get the idea. Okay, so that's the doors here. All right. Now for windows, it's very similar, right? So once I'm done with the doors, I can go back to architecture. I'm going to click on window, and it's going to give me my generic fixed window. If you don't like that, the other ones that are loaded in already are the window casement double, and then the window double hung windows. So you can use those if you want. It doesn't really matter to me. We're just trying to replicate the floor plan. So you can see the windows are located around here. So I'm going to be placing those in each of the rooms. I'm, again, not going to go be specific about exactly where they are. You can go ahead and take your time with that. But what you're going to notice here are my windows are opening outward. Okay, so you need to make sure that that is the case. If you're using a window like the fixed window here, right, if I zoom in, you can see, like, if I go back and forth on these walls, okay, you want the window on the outer wall. That's how the windows are set up in this software. Okay, so I want it going to the outer wall, making sure that you're doing that right, because what that is you have, this is like the actual window, and you have a little sill here. Okay, so you don't want the sill on the outside where water is going to sit. So I'm just kind of going around placing my windows where they tell you to go place those windows. Same thing with windows though. If you don't like the windows that you have, you can always load the family. Notice I'm in doors right now. If I try to load a door when I'm in the window placement, it's going to give me an error. So let's say, right, I'm trying to do windows, and I try to load a door in, and I hit open, and I hit OK. It's going to say, hey, this is not the right family. You can't do that. Okay, so just keep that in mind. If you're trying to place windows, you need to be in windows. If you're trying to place doors, you need to be in doors. Any other component, you're in component. And I'm going to do that in just a second. Okay, so back to the windows. Notice it's already clicked on, so I can go back to my Modify Place Window tab, Load Family, and I can go up. I'm going to go back to my English Imperial, and then I'm going to go down to Windows. And so that's going to be an option. And you have a whole bunch of different other windows that you can click on as well. Okay. All right. With that said, I think I got a majority of windows here. Oop. Notice I did the wrong one here, so I'm going to escape. Hit that Modify tool. Hit the space bar to make sure that's facing out. I guess what I can do here is mess this up and go in 3D and just show you really quick. So if I go into my 3D view, right, you can see the difference here. This window is placed on the outside. Here I have my sill, and I don't want that exposed to weather. So I want this part on the inside. I want the window on the outside here to protect it from the weather. Okay, and so you can see the difference in the windows and how they look. This is just your generic one. This is like when you start getting into the different types. Okay. All right. With that said, with the windows, the next thing you're going to need to do is place all the components. So if you're not placing doors and windows, everything else is found in here. Okay, so I'm going to hit Place Component. It's going to default to a desk. All right, I need to load the family in of what I want to load in. So again, we're already in the folders where you need to be. So I'm going to go back up, until I get back to English Imperial. Alright, and now let's just start with the bed because I can show you the differences in that. So these are folders that hold everything. You kind of have to think about where you think it would be. Some of them are not really intuitive. You're just going to have to kind of play around with where things are. So generally, beds are furniture. So I'm going to go into the furniture folder, and you're going to see bed, seating, storage, and tables. So tables being like end tables, nightstands, or your dining room tables. Storage would be like shelving. You can also have just general types of storage. I think they do like, I don't know what's in here, cabinets, right, and dressers, those type of things. So you're going to have to play around with these folders. When I go into the beds, I got a couple different options here, and so I'm just going to do the standard beds because I'm trying to duplicate what floor plan was already created, and I'm going to hit open, and notice it's going to default to the bed standard double. Right? If I click on that, I have double, king, queen, and twin. So if you're looking at the floor plan, right, I have twins in here, and I have at least a queen in here. So I'm going to go to the queen. Okay, I'm going to hit the space bar a couple times to flip the bed. If you want to put a bed at like an angle, right, see how I can't always do the angle. So what you can also do after you place it, okay, you can use the rotate tool. So if I want to rotate my bed at a certain angle, I can do that. And I can even type in the angle if I wanted to. Okay, so that's the rotate tool for you. You need to make sure that your furniture is not in the walls. Okay, so there's my standard queen. I can switch over to my twin, and so you're going to start placing these beds. I'm not sure why it's not letting me. Oh, because I had it highlighted. That's why. So here's my queen again. Okay, I'm going to click off. I'm going to place the component again, and now I want to go to my twin, and now I can start placing my twin beds. Okay, so in there. And I'm just going to start finding all these things, right? Walk-in closet, this is probably shelving. Bedroom, this is probably dressers. These are nightstands, okay? So kind of common sense of things. This is a bathroom, so you have your toilet, you have your shower, you have your sink, okay? So I'm going to go into load family. Let's just kind of do the bathroom stuff. So bathroom, right, that's plumbing. So I'm going to go into plumbing. Architectural is what we're working with here. You have fixtures and equipment. So fixtures are going to be things that like you're using. And so notice there's no toilets. However, that's called water closets. All right, it is what it is. If you want to be able to see it in your 3D view, you need to use the 3D version of it. If you only need to see it in your floor plan, you can use the 2D version. So I'm going to use the 3D just because I would like to be able to see it in my 3D view. Okay, toilet looks like it's over here. Alright, so I'm going to press the space bar, toilets go up against the wall. Okay, and then I'm going to keep loading that in. I actually have the toilet up here too, so I might as well do that while I have it open. Alright, and then the only thing you're going to notice too with the plumbing, the showers, it's only 2D. So you're only going to see these on the floor plan. Notice mine's a square shape, right? That's the square footage it's using right there. Theirs is not. We can always load in different ones eventually, but for now, just keep it simple and find the stuff that you have, and just use what you have. Okay, don't go crazy with it. So you're just going to keep going and making sure that you get all that equipment in. Again, like if you have components selected, and I load family, and I was like, oh yeah, I need to do a door, and I just go do a door, you're going to get an error, because the door has its own button, the windows have its own button, so just keep that in mind as well. Other than that, everything else should be pretty straightforward, so you're going to want to make sure that you are placing the furniture where it belongs.